Level 0. This is where radiation begins. You are standing in the middle of the most remote wilderness on Earth. No power lines, no machines, just silence. You might think the radiation level here is 0. It isn't. Nature is beautiful, but it's also slightly trying to kill you. The ground beneath your boots has uranium and thorium, radioactive heavy metals forged in the heart of dying stars billions of years ago, which became part of the dust that formed our planet. The air has radon gas, a product of that decay. And the sky is constantly throwing cosmic rays at your head. High-energy protons and atomic nuclei shot out from the sun and distant supernovae across the galaxy. We call this background radiation. Right now, your body is absorbing about 0.1 to 0.2 microsieverts per hour. To put that in perspective, you are literally glowing. Your bones are radioactive because they contain potassium-40, an isotope present in our food. Your muscles, too. So, yes, you are a walking, talking nuclear power source. Just a very, very pathetic one. The average person receives about 2.4 millisieverts per year from all natural sources combined. This has been the constant backdrop for every living thing since life began. It's harmless, invisible, and completely unavoidable. Level 1. Everyday radioactive. You walk into your kitchen and eat a banana. Bananas are famous in physics because they're rich in potassium, and a tiny fraction of that is radioactive potassium-40. Eating one gives you 0.1 microsieverts. Now, people hear radioactive banana and freak out. But to actually get a lethal dose from them, you'd need to eat about 10 million in one sitting. At that point, radiation is definitely not what kills you. Brazil nuts are even more radioactive because their deep roots absorb radium from the soil. But again, your body has systems to just flush it out like any other trace mineral. We also have granite countertops that emit radon, brick houses with trace uranium, and sleeping next to a partner, who is also radioactive. Sleeping with someone gives you a slightly higher yearly dose than sleeping alone. So technically, loneliness is a radiation shield. At this level, you're getting maybe 1 to 2 microsieverts a day from all these little sources. Your cells are constantly being peppered by this, but they have repair crews, enzymes that patrol your DNA, fixing breaks before they become a problem. It's a beautifully efficient system. Level 2. The high-altitude zone. You board a plane from New York to LA. As you climb to 35,000 feet, you leave a good chunk of the protective blanket of the atmosphere behind. Down here, the air and the Earth's magnetic field shield us. Up there, you get cozy with space radiation. Up here, the dose rate is 30 to 40 times higher than on the ground. These cosmic rays, mostly protons and atomic nuclei traveling near the speed of light, smash into the plane's metal skin. By the time you land 5 hours later, you've absorbed about 40 microsieverts. That's the radiation equivalent of eating 400 bananas. Pilots and flight attendants are classified as radiation workers by the government. It sounds like a cool sci-fi title, but mostly it just means they spend a lot of time in an aluminum tube while absorbing cosmic rays. They can accumulate 2 to 5 millisieverts a year, which is more than some people who work in nuclear facilities. For passengers, it's negligible, but it's a measurable dose and a great example of how our environment changes our exposure. Level 3. The medical zone. You break a rib. The doctor says, let's take a look. A single X-ray image is made by firing a controlled beam of high-energy photons through your body. That fraction of a second delivers about 100 microsieverts. That's 10 days of natural background radiation, all focused into a single moment. Efficient. But a CT scan? That's the big league. It works by taking hundreds of X-ray images in a full circle around your body and using a computer to stack them into a 3D model. To get that detail, a chest CT delivers around 7,000 microsieverts, or 7 millisieverts. That's 2 full years of background radiation in 5 minutes. It's still considered safe because the benefit of finding a tumor or a blood clot is huge. But it's a numbers game. You're trading a definite, immediate risk for a tiny statistical one down the road. And for the smokers, tobacco leaves absorb radioactive polonium-210 and lead-210 from the phosphate fertilizers used in farming. The sticky tar from smoking traps these particles in the lungs, creating hotspots of intense radiation. If you smoke a pack and a half a day, these spots can get up to 160 millisieverts a year. You are effectively giving yourself a daily, targeted X-ray, and you're paying for the privilege. Level 4. The fun police limit. We are at 50 millisieverts per year. This is the strict legal limit for anyone in the United States who works with radiation for a living. If your dosimeter badge hits this number, you are sent home. You are grounded. Why? Because this is the line where radiation effects change from being about bad luck to being about bad outcomes. Below this, the primary concern is stochastic effects. It slightly increases your lifetime odds of cancer, like buying more lottery tickets. But above this, we start getting closer to deterministic effects, direct tissue damage. So, regulators set the limit here in the zone of playing the odds to keep workers far away from guaranteed harm. You won't feel sick, but your DNA is having a panic attack. Level 5, the toxicity threshold. 500 millisieverts delivered in a short period. This is the dose found in the infamous red forest around Chernobyl, where the pine trees turned a ghostly reddish brown and died. At this level, your body stops being polite and starts reacting. The most sensitive cells are the first to go. Your lymphocytes, a type of white blood cell that forms the front line of your immune system, will drop significantly. They are the canary in the coal mine for radiation exposure. You will survive without treatment, but you'll feel a deep, weird fatigue that sleep can't fix. Your body is diverting all its energy to emergency repairs. Contrary to comic books, you do not get cool superpowers. You just get a statistically higher risk of cancer and a very bad few weeks. Some Fukushima workers hit this range. They recovered, but they'll be medically monitored for the rest of their lives. Level 6. Acute radiation syndrome. 1 sievert, that's 1,000 millisieverts. If you take this dose in a few hours, you get what doctors call acute radiation syndrome. The cells in your stomach lining, which replace themselves every few days, die off. You vomit within hours. Your immune system, headquartered in your bone marrow, takes a massive hit and goes on vacation right when you need it most. White blood cell counts plummet, leaving you open to any passing infection. Platelets, which clot your blood, also disappear. This means even a small bump could cause internal bleeding. Hair follicles die, so your hair starts falling out. With modern medical care, antibiotics, growth factors to stimulate the marrow, transfusions, you will likely survive. But it will be the worst month of your life. You'll lose your hair and your dignity, but you'll keep your life. Level 7. The killing zone. 4 to 5 sieverts. This is the Demon Core level. Physicist Harry Daghlian was working late at Los Alamos in 1945, stacking tungsten bricks around a plutonium core. One brick slipped, the core went briefly critical, and he was blasted with about 5.1 sieverts. He saw a faint blue flash, Cherenkov radiation, particles moving faster than light through the fluid in his eyes. At this level, physics stops being a subject you study and starts being a thing that happens to you. Your bone marrow is sterilized. It stops producing blood cells entirely. Without a bone marrow transplant, the death rate is near 100%. Even with the best doctors, survival is a coin toss. Daghlian died 25 days later. His hands, which were closest to the flash, suffered horrific radiation burns. Level 8, the point of no return, 6 to 10 sieverts. This is what the Chernobyl firefighters faced on the reactor roof. You vomit in minutes. Then, strangely, you might get a walking ghost phase where you feel surprisingly okay for a day or two. This is the ultimate deception. It happens because your mature, functioning cells are still alive and working, but the stem cells that create their replacements have all been killed. The factories have been destroyed, but the products are still on the shelves for a little while. When those mature cells die off and no new ones arrive, the collapse is catastrophic. The lining of your intestines sloughs off. You can't absorb water. Bacteria from your gut leak into your bloodstream. Survival here is statistically almost impossible, even with the most aggressive modern medicine. Level 9, Molecular Anarchy, 10 to 20 sieverts. This is the dose Louis Slotin received in the second Demon Core accident, about 21 sieverts, and Hisashi Uchi in the Tokaimura accident, around 17 sieverts. At this level, radiation doesn't just kill cells. It shreds the instruction manual. Your DNA is so broken that your cells literally forget how to divide. Doctors who examined Uchi's chromosomes under a microscope saw they were just shattered, unrecognizable fragments. Slotin's nervous system began to fail immediately. He died in 9 days. Uchi was kept alive by machines for 83 days, but his body simply unraveled. There is no medicine for this because the blueprint for making a new you has been erased. It's biological anarchy. Level 10, Immediate Collapse, above 50 sieverts. This level only exists inside a nuclear reactor core or at the center of a criticality accident, a runaway nuclear chain reaction. This is the dose Cecil Kelly, a chemical operator, received in 1958 at Los Alamos when a plutonium solution went critical. He was blasted with a dose estimated in the thousands of rads. At this level, biology leaves the chat. Physics is now in charge. The sheer electrical chaos from the ionizing particles instantly overloads and shuts down your heart and central nervous system. You don't even have time to develop radiation sickness. You just stop. Kelly was on a ladder, he fell, was disoriented, and died within 35 hours. There is no walking ghost phase, there is no treatment. It's the absolute endpoint. Radiation is a ghost that lives with us. At level 0, it's just nature doing its thing. At level 3, it's a tool that saves lives. But climb the ladder too high, and it becomes one of the most terrifying forces in the universe. The universe is full of invisible lines you don't want to cross, and honestly, if the concept of your DNA unraveling like cheap knitting doesn't make you want to hit that subscribe button, I don't know what will. Like the video to keep your atoms stable, and I'll see you in the next one.